West Cork, Ireland. A drive along the Atlantic onto any of the three peninsulas jutting southwest into the sea reveals gorgeous rolling hills tucked between narrow roads above a rocky coastline dotted with lighthouses. Large patches of farmland gird these hilly regions, the fields patched together as if a mantle for the island's stony shoulders.
The scenery is exquisite when you get a good day. There's nowhere else in the world that you'd want to be.
Within 1 hour you can visit the most beautiful places. The sea is surrounding us.
In Irish language we say graw, which means love for West Cork. So we say, I have a great graw for something.
The Mizzen Head, Sheep's Head and Beara peninsulas stretch southwest into the sea, colossal fingers that form Bantry Bay and seem to point straight towards the coastal United States.
It's near the Mizzen Head, which is the most southerly point in Ireland.
Nestled in the lap of the bay between these peninsulas is the town of Bantry. Ma Murphy's bar sits on the main road, just a short stroll in from the bay past Wolfetown Square.
Ma Murphy's is situated in a small town called Bantry in West Cork, Ireland.
Sheep's Head Peninsula lies just before it, while a gull's flight across either of the two nearby bays reveals the breathtaking scenery of a lush and rugged land that straddles the borders of the Celtic Sea and the North Atlantic. And whether you're in West Cork for sightseeing on the Wild Atlantic Way, shopping at Bantry's Market, or for traditional Irish music, Ma Murphy's will welcome you in for a proper pint.
It was a pub since 1840, and then Ma Murphy and her husband moved in 1900. He was a teacher, and she ran the pub.
1, 2, 3.
As time went on, she grew older, and the customers used to call her Ma, as in mother. And that's how the name sort of started, you know.
We moved here 35 years ago, 1981, and my son was just born then. He was 6 months when we came to live here. But prior to that, my brother-in-law's mother owned it and his grandmother had ran it before them. Both women ran it. So it's been in the family 4 generations. 1, 2, 3, yeah. And my daughter and son are running it now at the moment.
We moved when I was 4, so we've lived in this building for like 35 years.
We decided when we came over that we wouldn't live out of the pub because one of us would always have to be in the pub.
Mary's earliest memories are filled with some of the challenges that came with growing up in a pub.
There was no door on the stairs, so we walked upstairs, that was our house. Oh, this is our house, but we walked upstairs and then, you know, you'd be people walking around your bedrooms and all sorts. It was crazy.
Prior to the Leonards taking over, a nephew in Patricia's family owned the pub, inherited from his mother, Mrs. Daly. She was a true publican and Ma Murphy's daughter, born and raised in the public house.
I remember her saying to me that don't treat it like a job. She treated this like her living room. And I think I took that on board. So when the children would come in, they were coming into the house. They never felt we were out. You know, they always felt that we were at home, even though we were both working. So that was one of the good things about it, I think, for living on the premises, you know.
Patricia indeed took the pub into her heart as part of her home long ago, and as such, the patrons as family. These accommodations, however, made for interesting times for their children, Mary, Caroline and Sean.
But the only thing about it was a bit mad because, you know, we lived upstairs but our kitchen was downstairs. So you can imagine, like, you want a glass of milk or something when you're a kid. Like, have to come downstairs and like, there was no privacy.
Although he was only 6 months old when Billy and Patricia took over Ma Murphy's, some of Sean's earliest memories are of the bar.
When you're, you know, a very young child in a bar, you kind of see things you don't necessarily you shouldn't be seeing, kind of thing. It gives you a unique worldview, kind of thing, you know.
That unique worldview is not always an accidental occurrence. Breda Fahy Walsh, a local activist, organises seasonal international nights at Ma's.
Just ideal, and they're just lovely people, and when I said it to them they were delighted because they have so many different nationalities coming in here anyway.
Readers get so many people with different nationalities, and she organises an international night where each person from different countries can tell a bit about their culture and so on.
I was trying to set up another community base for people to come to. So I saw a niche with the so many foreigners come here. For an hour and a half, people have to speak English. They can't speak their own language.
What began as an exercise in advancing communication skills among the international patrons has since become an opportunity to advance understanding of other cultures. She's done this with pancake night, music, conversation and storytelling, and even dancing.
There was 20 people dancing, all different nationalities, learning how to Irish dance.
So you'd have the music going on, and you have like some, in the winter they're doing a knitting club. So they all sit in there, drink tea, herbal tea, and eat cake. And they knit, you know, for the evening by the fire.
We're just like one big family now. And there's a lot of them gone and they're coming back.
This is all cooked through, yeah? See, it's all regular. Oh, I see now. Yeah.
John the jeweller is an English artisan who has settled in the area and can be found doing business in the pub. The old hardwood of the bar oftentimes his office.
Basically, he comes in here, and if he's got people, you know, bringing jewellery in to get repaired, he'll meet them here, and then it's a meeting spot. You know, like they come in, they have a chat. You might have a pint or two or whatever, but it's a way of having an office without actually having to rent the space, so to speak. You know.
We'd meet at the pub. I'd take your ring size, then like get an address or a meet point later on, and the price would be like half cash, half drink, or half trade. Friend Carlos wanted a ring with Czechoslovakian and stuff, and 18 karat gold writing on it. I did all that, and he paid me back in pork and fresh caught trout for about a month. Or even like how I got this place. Marcus was playing flute in the pub out the back, and I gave him a silver unicorn. And then 3 or 4 weeks later I needed somewhere to live, and he said, well, there's this place that he wasn't ever using. So that's how I got this place, via a silver unicorn in the pub.
He might be English, but he's got a very Irish way of doing things, you know.
You know, you just trade it around.
Nathan Solomon, another area artisan and patron of Ma Murphy's, takes a more blue-collar approach to his work as a chainsaw artist.
I just start cutting and just keep cutting, and the worst that can happen is I end up starting with a log like this and I end up with a tiny piece like this, but I'll get something that I can sell. As time's gone on, I've got better, and it's more likely that I'll get what I'm aiming for. I've just been manically sawing away for like 16, 17 years. You know, people say it's talent, but really it's persistence. It's just, yeah, dogged persistence. I saw some lads doing this, and I thought I'd give it a go. I'll do anything, really. Like the piece I'm working on now is a piece for a retirement present. Do a few benches, a few tables. But when you're dealing with timber, there's always shakes and cracks. There might be things you didn't see from the outside. It's not just a plain block of plaster that you can just impose what you want on. You have to pay a bit of attention to what's coming from the wood itself. So that can completely change what I intend to do.
As Irish tradition would have it, Nathan considers himself a bit of a blow-in.
I've only been here 22 years.
He's another guy now who's moved over here from England and built a life for himself. It kind of goes in with a lot of people that come into the bar. They usually have a good sense of humour, you know what I mean? Like a laugh and a joke kind of thing is a thing, but that's what a lot of guys come in for, like Nathan and the lads. They want to meet up and have the chat themselves, but they also want a little bit of crack, you know? Sometimes you need people coming in from the outside, especially if you're an island nation. Most of the people that have come over here from, whether it be England, Germany, France, Holland, wherever, the States, they've always usually brought something to the community.
I wander again those hills and dreamy valleys.
So, you know, what's happened here, which is really good about West Cork, is people have come and people have welcomed them because there's a history of that, and then the people have really tried to immerse themselves in the culture.
I like the international mix of the clientele, really. You get all sorts. And there's different spaces of rooms, and everyone helps each other, you know, it's all a happy bunch.
And Mars really gives you a good cross-section of the local colour. Like.
When the Leonards took over Ma Murphy's, local colour didn't mean what it does today. At that time it was, in essence, as with many Irish pubs in the early 1980s, a men's-only establishment.
In those days, whether it was in Ireland or the UK, the custom was men drank in a separate room to women. Right? But thank God it's changed, because I'd be fed up looking at fellas all day.
When he came first, he said it was only farmers and only older people, only older men, and no women, like the women only in the snog. And so I think he started getting a bit bored looking at the old men. When I was a kid, it would be full of women like with their little scarves. I miss those women. You know, I knew them all by name, and they'd come in first thing in the morning, you know, and sit there and in the snug, and they'd just all be chatting.
However, traditional Irish pubs were not just pubs in bygone times. In the case of Ma Murphy's, there was a small grocery store up front between the snug and the bar.
It used to be like everything you wanted, basically, like the big fridge, which is 75 years old now. It used to have the bacon and the sausages and the butter. The men obviously, you know, had all their freedom and drank in the bar, but the women used to come in here, and there might be like 4 or 5 of the old biddies, and they'd be talking about, you know, what was going on, and probably giving out about their husbands or whatever.
You'd have women coming in the snug now who would buy their groceries, the piece of bacon, eggs, rashers, tea and all that, and they'd have a couple of brandies, a couple of whiskies, right?
There was a little by little my dad coaxed them in, as he does. He's a bit of a charmer, and he started calling them Billy's Angels. So then, yeah, the women started coming in then. And I think the men obviously probably liked it as well, because it kind of gave it a bit more, you know, well, women are quite interesting characters, aren't we?
Inviting women into the pub had its own set of challenges, especially since their pub was their home.
And then at that time there was no toilet, like ladies' toilet downstairs. So the women had to go upstairs, because we lived upstairs, and they had to go to the toilet upstairs while my mum was like, we had one toilet, and my mum would be bathing us or something, and you get a knock on the door and someone want to use the toilet.
So you might be up there, I remember when I was a kid, it was like about 86, 87 or something like that, watching MacGyver on the TV in the sitting room. And you'd have women on a Saturday night coming in, they'd get the wrong door and they'd come into the sitting room thinking it's the toilet, you know.
Other household facilities were in even closer quarters to the patronage.
So this is a continuation of the bar, and when we were kids, this is where our kitchen was.
Our kitchen was just behind the bar here.
That's where the cooker was. So my mum would be making the dinner and trying to keep an eye on the bar.
I'd be getting the dinner ready, and I'd be pulling a pint at the same time.
I still feel like it's our kitchen. Every time I walk in, the kitchen table was here, and our birthday parties happened in here. And then after a few years, we decided to move the kitchen back in another one, and then this became like another little room for people to basically come and sing in.
I paid a flying visit to my first and only love.
The room that was once the kitchen soon became a focal point for music.
Yeah, you're like in someone's kitchen, I guess, having an old, you know, we've had Shanna Keys, because that's what they used to do in Ireland when there was no electricity. Everyone just come around and sing songs and even dance in each other's kitchens, you know, and tell stories. So growing up, that was always like music in there and music in the back, and it was a great room for the traditional Irish music. So they literally would be dancing on the tables, like mad sessions. It was an Irish thing that everyone had after hours, you know, you're meant to close at 12:30. But then that's when the crack, we say crack, the fun, you know, really started, and they'd just be singing and dancing in here.
I can hear what you're thinking, all your doubts and fears.
It's so important, you know, your old stories and the history of where you came from, and that's why Dad has all the, you know, the old pictures around the bar.
Indeed, the walls are filled with memorabilia from countries near and far. Billy is particularly proud of the oars that adorn one wall, a gift signed by the crew from the Bantry rowing club. A compass embedded in the bar, American Civil War gear and weapons, and an 8-day clock from the turn of the 20th century that Ma Murphy brought in when they bought the bar.
But the clock's been on the wall since 1900. It still works today, and every bit of collection on the wall has got a story.
Other areas of the bar have even older elements to them. A Above the fireplace, in what was once the kitchen, the mantel goes back to the original owners.
The old beam, like the old one of the big beams from Murphy's, so 1840, so it was up in the attic.
The oldest item, the grandfather's bog oak that dates back some 2,000 years, resides on the wall of what used to be the stables.
When we were kids, this was, I guess that was our house there, so this was our garden, and there'd be loads of horses.
Being a kid watching outside, watching Tom Harrington work out in the blacksmith's forge, that to me was just, amazing. That was fascinating. See him work with the, shaping the iron and stuff like that.
So growing up, my bedroom window was this one here. So you could always hear that banging of the I wish I could reproduce it. Banging of the iron on the, making the horseshoe on the fire, on the anvil. And also the smell, because obviously there was a fire going all the time.
The farmers used to put me on the back of the horses, When you're 5 or 6 years of age, that's like the most amazing thing in the world,
All the farmers would be in to see him, and he used to sit there. I remember him well, Tom.
Friday would be a fair day, and all the locals would come in, the people in the surrounding areas would come in, and they'd only be in the one day.
So on a Friday, a fair day, which was our first Friday of a month, everyone would bring their animals in.
Now there's stalls down, and they've olive stalls, and it's lovely, groceries and things made from around the area, but way back it was more farmers coming into town. Now it's just everybody, from visitors and everything coming in.
Well, you still get farmers, but it's the next generation, the modern farmer, all the technology that you could give a farmer.
Around 1990, Tom Harrington passed away, and the forge and accompanying stables became storage and unused space.
And it used to be used as a coal shed. So all of this, if you can imagine, they're the original flagstones. So, 1840 easily. I saw this place and I was just saying to Dad, man, we should change this into a place for live music.
Her mother, she could never stand, and so with cyanide soup she planned the poor and died with the spoon in her hand, and her face in a hideous grin, her face in a hideous grin.
Me and my friends and there's just some great people got together, and we literally that evening we just decided I never forget it, my dad and me came in and another guy, and we just started like pushing the walls. It was mad, just seeing it, and then push the wall and we're like, let's push the other wall. We had no plan, we didn't have a clue what we were going to do. We're just like, let's make it into one big space. And then it just evolved and everyone got involved. I did late nights and everything, but just to see the transformation from a dirty old stables to this.
And they knocked all the back out of the sheds and put an extra bar in with a stage, and everyone grouped together to help build it.
Yeah, it was a transformation, and it's a credit to everyone who got involved, everyone really. Literally, we did it in 3.5 weeks, which is, it nearly killed me. It was a lot of work.
They have since torn down the actual forge, replacing it with more outdoor seating.
It was just a really dirty old yard, and now we just have a little place where people can sit outside. So then when the sun comes out, people go crazy. It's like, oh my God, Irish people are just so happy. They're just so excited to see the sun, so of course they're all out in the beer garden, and it'll still be freezing.
All of the changes have not gone unnoticed by both family and patrons.
I'm very lucky and blessed to have a daughter and son in the business who come up with new ideas and good ideas for the business, because when a man gets to my age, what was good for me 20, 30, 40, 30 years ago isn't good anymore.
And over the last 3 or 4 years, Mary and Sean have been taking on more and bringing it more into the real world, like coffee, food, music, slightly different, bands in the back.
So just stuff that would continue, and maybe that it will evolve, because everything has to change, doesn't it?
But one thing that never changes is the tradition of a family-run pub.
I think that's probably the main part of it, is the fact that it's a family-run business. Me and Mary, we're still carrying on the tradition my dad set up.
Well, I've been drinking there off and on for 20 years. It's one of my best 10 pubs ever, so it's friendly, it hasn't changed, the Guinness is excellent.
It's eclectic, it's cosmopolitan, Bill's great, Mary's great, the music, the sessions that are in there, they're always good.
It is where people meet, you know, it's a social thing as well as a community thing because everybody knows each other. I can come in here on my own and have a pint and I'll meet someone I know.
Now the perfect pint of Guinness.
We socialised in here and we became friends with a lot of the people who were our age then. We're both very easygoing, so you wouldn't want to be a 9-to-5 person and want to go off out somewhere in the evening.
Like you could do 60, 70 hours here. You could, like, you know what I mean? And that's what a lot of family pubs have to do. I suppose with any family business, that's what you do, isn't it?
The Leonard family has always worked together in the pub. They go about their business as if the pub is their home, which it was for much of the lifetimes of their now adult children.
But Mary, I think, was 8 years of age when I stood her on a stool and she pulled the first pint.
Like I started working in the bar when I was about 6 years of age, you know, just helping out, collecting glasses and stuff like that.
Mary takes after her father. I think she's the gift of the gab and she's outgoing. Sean is great. He came down a good few years ago. He went off working. We thought let him go off and find what he likes first, and he came back then, and the two of them are working together here now.
Mary is actually, I'd say what Ma Murphy used to be like back in the day.
She has a great personality and she's a very loving kind of a person, you know. She's just made for the job too, like Billy was. They're made for the job, I think, you know.
Yeah, I have great connection with my family, I suppose, which I never would have had. A lot of love, you know, so I feel kind of lucky, like I suppose, that I've had that with my mum and dad and my brother.
While the family connection has always existed, the connection to the pub was complete when they changed its name.
Well, to be honest though, Ma Murphy wasn't on the pub door. It was P. Murphy, her husband, Patrick. But the fact that all the customers called it Ma, right, I thought anyone would say, where would you last night? Oh, in Ma's, right? There was no P. Murphys or whatever. So I said, there's only one thing to do, we put Ma Murphy over the door.
It was a heartfelt nod to the pub's matriarch and the manner in which the pub has been run for over 100 years.
The main thing, I suppose, is to run a pub like this, you have to treat, as my husband does, treat everybody as they were friends when they come in and say thank you for coming into our pub.
This is like someone coming into your house, for me. So then if someone comes into your house, you have to make them feel at home. And I guess that's what the Irish pub is about, isn't it?
My dad's thing with us when we were kids, when we were working in the bar, was that if someone comes in, you always say hello to them, you always talk to them.
It's why a pint ordered in your own time will always be served after a welcoming smile, some conversation, a laugh and a bit of crack.
I feel the luckiest man in the world. Right? I have a chance to come back to my roots. Lucky enough to end up owning our own business together, my wife and I. Lucky enough to see my 3 children grow up, grandchildren, and I'm alive to see all that, so I feel the luckiest guy in the world. And I own a very special pub. Oh, right, that's Ma Murphy's ghost. Right, film that now.